Hello, everyone. Hope that you are enjoying the end of your regular Friday, moving into this evening into Shabbat, as we have now for 273 days. We are thinking, of course, of our brothers and sisters in the hands of Hamas and an attempt to put as much shalom as we can into our Shabbat as we enter the Torah portion of Korach. Korach is an unbelievably fascinating Torah portion. It is maybe one of the most fascinating and discussable Torah portions, particularly in the book of Numbers. We are in the book of Numbers, and Numbers has a myriad of fascinating relationships and functional relationships and non-functional relationships amongst the Israelites. And this week is the relationship between Moses and Aaron and a guy named Korach, who is their relative, actually, and how he behaves towards them. Behind me is this gigantic chasm, if you can see sort of an open chasm behind me, an artistic rendition of a foreshadow of what we'll be talking about, not just tonight, but also tomorrow morning at our Torah discussion. You're not going to want to miss this Torah discussion tomorrow. It is going to be very interesting to talk about Korach and the relationship that he has, like I said, with his relatives, with his very close relatives, namely Moses and Aaron and Miriam. And so I just wanted to mention, which I had before, that there is this theory in the Mishnah. So that's Jewish text dating to around 200 CE. There's a piece of text in the Mishnah that talks about that there were 10 things made on the eve of Shabbat at twilight, the first Shabbat ever, meaning in creation. If we go back all the way to creation, in like the millisecond before the sixth day turns into the seventh day, meaning from the millisecond that we go from the work of the sixth day that God is doing to the first Shabbat that God rests on. There's a theory that 10 things were created at the last second. Some of them include the rainbow, which we'll learn about and hear about when we get to Noach. Manna, which is the food that the Israelites ate while they were wandering in the desert. And there are a bunch of things, including, I mentions Moses' staff. But the first one that it mentions, is something called the mouth of the earth. So the first thing of the 10 things hypothetically created, according to the Mishnah, according to the rabbis, just before Shabbat, the first ever Shabbat is something called the mouth of the earth, essentially. And this might be this thing behind me, this cartoon version of this chasm that opens up. Now I'm going to leave you in suspense if you don't know the story, or if you know the story, you know what's coming. But I will leave you in suspense because this plays a gigantic role. How important of a role does this chasm behind us play? It's actually in the Mishnah. Not only is it in the Torah this week, in the portion of Korach, but it's also in the Mishnah that corresponds to it. So it's very, very, very important. So I'll invite you on this Shabbat to put on your Torah and text detective hats and what's the little eyeglass, called maybe a pipe, not to smoke a pipe, but the whole like feeling of being in it like an old school inspector. And I'm not sure that worked like I wanted it to. Sorry, but I do want us to think about the significance of Korach and the chasm behind me, and I will leave you with this. The micro lesson, which we've even talking about more tomorrow, is that there are repercussions to our actions. That is plain and simple. And this Torah portion reminds us that. It also reminds us, by the way, that the way in which we do something has an effect. So I will leave you with that and hope that our Shabbat will be filled with very positive and beautiful cause and effects, not necessarily the way cause and effect works in this week's Torah portion for Korach. Services are not that far from now. They are at 6:30. we are in the chapel because it is our summer hours, and then tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock, not 8:30, 9 o'clock in the chapel once again for our service and Torah discussion. Hopefully, we can put as much shalom as we can into our Shabbat. See you soon.